What is going on YouTube? So I just want to show a quick tip here in BluePrints. So this is the BluePrint screen. Um, what BluePrinting is visual scripting. So it's based on C++, and you can visual script code. And so Unreal Engine has a lot of different, it has its own library for BluePrint scripting unique to Unreal Engine 4. But again, it all works with C++. But here's just a couple of navigation tips for moving in the BluePrint screen. So here is your viewport of whatever you're working on. And in the event graph, also the construct script, and then your functions, you're going to get this BluePrint scripter here. Okay, and you can upload this to Visual, whatever Visual Studio that you use. And this particular, what is it? Visual 2018, I think is the one that I have. I'm not that keen on C++ quite yet. But so a couple of tips for the BluePrint is if you left click, you can move this around like this, right? If you right click on it, it gives you some extra options. So delete, cut it, copy, duplicate, refresh, break, find the references. So everything that this particular part of your code is connected to, you can collapse the nodes. So if you have a lot together, you can mix this all into one. Collapse to a function, collapse to a macro, convert the event to the function, align. You can get rid of all your spaghetti straps with this. Spaghetti is just a term because like when this gets like really big, like you can just imagine how this looks, right? So left click to move around, right click to get some of your functions, and they do exactly what's up in here. But I want to demonstrate another thing. So if you right click, you can grab and move around the whole BluePrint layout. If you hold left click and then right click, you can zoom in and out, okay, like so. This is really good for when you're just trying to just whoop, real quick. You're not necessarily looking for something too in particular. But if you use the mouse wheel, you can do the same thing, and that's what I've been using. If you right click in an open area, you get this box select, right? And you can comment. So if you hit C, you can comment and highlight anything within that box. And then you can put anything you want to put in there. And this is all pseudo code, so it doesn't, you can use spaces and stuff like that. It's not reading code. Okay. And when you have, I'm gonna just throw something in here. So just like, I don't know, let's say code for jumping. Code for jumping. Okay. And one quick tip, Unreal, I see a lot of Unreal users. I can't, there was a, I was watching Zach Parrish, he was talking about this, I think how they code, but some of them don't use spaces, so they just like write things like this. So that's how I write everything in my code. I don't use spaces. It's a bad practice though, because I actually try to write like that sometimes. Stupid. But anyway, so say this is code for jumping, or however you want to put there. And now this is labeled so that you don't forget it, because when this gets huge, like when you got a lot of stuff going on in here, you will get lost. Especially if you come back to a you say you leave on a project and you come back to it. And if you highlight this comment box over here, you can also come over here and select the color, which is really nice. So say you have a lot of functions that's running on tick, right? So let's get tick here. Event tick. Event tick is the game's code counting in seconds. And you need this for, say, things to rotate, something moves back and forth, or say you want to count time or check something every second. Okay. And there's new functions in here that don't use tick, because it's not good to put a lot of things on tick, obviously, because you had a lot of things running at the same time. But yeah, so say you have a template and like a lot of things is running on tick, but you have it like way off in the distance, and you're like, man, where is the tick? What I like to do is comment it, tick in big bold letters, right? And then you can extend it over there, like so. And then I like to come over here and comment it in green. Okay, so the same thing, we'll say like I have a def code. So I'm just making some stuff right quick for example. So I have a code called on death. So say when the character dies, I wanted something to start like the game over screen or something, and say again, this is all over, I can't find it. What I like to do here is everything that kills stuff or stops stuff, I like to grab it and just put stop or whatever it is, so that it jolts your mind as into what it was. And I like to again kind of extend the main pieces of the start of the code. And for like something like this, you can choose whatever color you want, but I like to choose something like red. So when I zoom, as you notice, it can zoom out because you only will go so far. But I mean, this can get like scattered all over. But you know, to strike out at you, and you can remember, oh, okay, yeah, there's the def code. So it's good to comment things and color coordinate things. Another thing too with your lines. So this can get like your lines can get crossed up and all over. Okay. One thing you always want to do, if you notice, see like how, like right there, this line will try its hardest to be clear for you, and it does a pretty excellent job. But one thing that you can do is come right up in the middle of it. See how it lights up? You can double click it, and you can just spread it off to something else. Now this is an execution line. Okay, blue is object, and the rest of the colors are like right here. So you have your floats, you have your booleans, you have your transforms. Okay, so each line represents a different color, or represents, you know, the type of it is. So that will help you when you're trying to connect different things and getting used to connecting stuff. But white is your execution line. So whatever's white has a point that it starts at, and it runs down the code. It's like it's reading the code, you know. So yeah, I just wanted to give a couple tips on that. Also, another thing, let's say you have a sequence like here, right? Let me just duplicate this right quick so you get a. Okay, so say you have something like this, and you have lines all over, but you're like, man, I actually want to connect all this to one. What you can do is hold Control, left click, and grab this line and put it somewhere else. Okay, so like say on the sequence I have like, I don't know, 5 of these, and I just want to move one to another section, or I had a bunch of execution lines hooked up to this and I want to move them all at once. You can just simply like this, watch. No, this is gonna, okay, yeah, it is. So see, I just connected all these, hold Control. Now I just grabbed all of those, and that's handy for when you have, like, say you, for some reason you have like, I don't know, 40 different things connected to one dead code, right? You can Control, left click, and grab all of the 40 and move them. But most likely there's probably another way to do that if you run into that type of a problem. Control Z reverses everything so far, and I don't suggest doing this because, I mean, just randomly, see, like it goes so far. But just be careful, because if you have like other things open, it doesn't all the time. But if you have other things open, you'll notice like everything will stop right here. Then you go back to your world, and the last 10 things that you did in your world is completely moved, and you completely forgot. So be careful with the Control Z. But it does work. If you These are your options that you can choose with this, and of course you can do, well, you can duplicate it, but sometimes you have to compile first. Okay, and then sometimes it just won't do it. But if it won't duplicate, you can copy, come out, Control V, and then paste it. And you know, it's just like you're just rewriting code, copied code. Sometimes this sorry about that, duplicate won't work. Well, work right there. Why did it? It's sketchy, and I don't know why, but you can duplicate it like that. But if not, just copy it and just go like that. And of course you have your just straight up delete it, which straight deletes it. Refresh. So refreshing, if you have code that was hooked up to something and you changed it over here, and then you go to compile it and you get this red error where the same code was at, sometime you could refresh it, and it'll refresh all the current pins and the current code that you rewrote, which is handy. Excuse me, for like say you import something from a different program and everything isn't lined up correctly, names isn't correct, but you go to go fix all the names, you can refresh the code that way. Break the links is everything in this, everything that's connected to this will be broken, so it just breaks everything. Find references. So in your code, find references mean if you say you're going to delete something or it's affecting something else in the world, what you can do is find out what all this is connected to here in the code, and it'll go to it. Sometimes this can take a long time, especially if you have a lot of things connected to that. So yeah, that's what that is. Collapse nodes is kind of hard to, let me see. So if you box select all of this and you collapse nodes, it'll take all that code and put it in its own like container box, so to speak, its own little box. It's collapsing it to grab it. To give you a visual, it's like putting all that piece of code in one box, and then you can come right here and open it up. So it's like its own piece of code. So this is very, very good for when you have, say you have a jump code, then you have a shooting code, then you have a def code, then you have a I don't know, inventory code, and it's all in one blueprint. You can consolidate each different part. And then you can also come over here and comment it as well, and then color it the same thing. So right here I will put something like start code or something like that, you know. And then you can also uncollapse it, so you can extend expand node, and it'll put it back. Okay, collapse function. These other two I'm not going to go into. They're a little bit more deeper. But again, then you have all your alignments. So see the lines like so like that. And I come over here. It would do its best to align all the pieces of code for you. So that's something I don't really use that much. I kind of just, it's good practice just to move the code wherever you want, and you're not harming anything moving this stuff around. The only thing that's going to harm it is if you have like it's connected, say it's connected and you go to compile it and there's no error, and then your game freeze or something like that. You might have a continuous loop going on where it's a piece of code that's continuing itself and something like that. But other than that, and it'll give you warnings like if you have something that's connected and it's of the same object or the same type, but it's not, what is it? The references aren't the same, or some kind of issue like that, it'll let you know. But there's no harm in moving this stuff anywhere. So like this, in certain instances, I might have like that. You know, you can just organize it to have it where you want it. So yeah, those are just a couple tips for blueprinting. There's much more. There's a lot over here to go over and everything, but this is just a couple things that I use on a daily when I'm using blueprints. And I guess for the last little bit, when you right click, this gives you like, here's all the code functions that you could use. And again, it's based on C++, so you can make your own, but man, you can make an entire game just with Blueprint. So it's super, super empowering. And if you're looking for something specific, you can type it in, and then sometime you can type in something and it's just giving you like whatever you type in is giving you like the base title. You can come over here and take off context sensitive, and then it'll open up a whole nother field that's behind those. So like a deeper layer versus just the common ones that's commonly used. So yeah, just want to just give some basic tips in Blueprint off the cuff. I hope y'all enjoy it. Go make some awesome games, man. Blueprint is really easy to use. I haven't touched a single. I only messed with C++ just a little bit with both of my games and everything that I have made. So yeah.